Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go. Hello there, this is BK on the air, here to tell you that if you hear the telephone number, please don't call, because this is a rebroadcast.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Give you the answer to that question, Mr. Bender, next Saturday. Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
The Force will be with you, always.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
You know, I can't believe it. I'm actually going to start the show today with no pet peeve. I don't have any complaint this week. I can make up something. What? Why can I borrow one from you?
I've got plenty.
You got plenty. You always have to. Yours doesn't involve someone parking badly, does it? Yeah, Alan's big on the cars that park that doesn't know how to get into a parking space. Now, let me say this about that. Having a car that's been dinged enough by idiots that park close to you, don't watch when they open their door. I do understand if you got a new car, if you want to take up 2 spaces, but park out toward the end. You want to do that? Get away from the other cars. Anyway.
You don't need to take up 2 spaces if you park away.
But if you do that, just park way out there. Yeah, because nobody wants to walk. Mm-hmm. And but we got to where we do it anyway now. We park out and just walk to the building. I'm like, let's just park out here because people. I'm like, you've looked for a space for an hour. You could have already parked at the end and walked into the store and back. You know,
I've never understood that. That's one of my holiday pet peeves. The people that are waiting 30 minutes for somebody to come in and so they can get a parking spot up front
right.
as you're about to walk a mile inside the mall.
Right. Walk a mile in my shoes. And you ever walked a mile in another man's shoes? I mean, it's really
I got blisters.
It's really good. Well, you're already a mile away from him, and you have an extra pair of shoes, so keep going. So I always love that. Hey, it's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. God, wow, we're celebrating we are actually celebrating an anniversary next month. This radio station, and I tell everybody that to kind of juice it up and get people ready for it and prepare them for it. Is are we turning the big 75 this year? Is that right? 75. That's like a milestone,
We went
right?
live right in 1946, a year after World War II came to an end.
And that's crazy.
You want to know what's crazy? And she called into the show a couple days ago. Catherine Edwards, 94.
Well, a very long time. She could be called a long-time listener.
Do you want to know how long
That's
time?
A long time? Yeah.
She was working her first admin job and heard us go live, 1946. Wow. And still listens.
Now, I guess there was something on the frequency she was listening to anyway. Switching
I don't know.
or something? How can you be listening live?
There wasn't. It was in the news.
Or she heard that it was going to go
in
live.
In the news that on this day, at this time, a brand new radio station, WBHF, was going to go live here in Bartow County. And so people were tuned in for when it would break and say, dun, 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 welcome to WBHF.
Now, let's make it clear. No one was using TuneIn. You meant they were tuned into the radio because they were listening. The iPhones back then didn't have the app on them in 1946.
No, they still had the rotary dial.
Well, yeah, isn't that great, though? I mean, for 1946, that was the year my mom was born, 1946, and the year the bikini bathing suit was invented was 1946.
Was it in 46?
It was in 46. I remember we had that on the news flash.
They didn't have any during World War II?
That was my mom's year she was born. My mom's as old as the bikini is. Now, I don't know if she has any bikinis that are as old as she is. I don't know. I'd have to ask her to see. But we're here. We're having a good time. We'll celebrate our anniversary. I'm sure we have something planned out in front of the station, a little balloons, cake, and free,
yes, we're going to have
giveaways and stuff or whatever. I don't know, koozies. And they don't have anything with our logo for our shows on it yet, but maybe that'll be in the works one day, I think. I don't know. With us today, back again, is Take a Chance. Bartels is here. Hey, Chance.
Hello, nostalgic cousins. How are you?
No,
Wait a
why am
minute.
I?
You
Why,
got it-
why
you got
is he
the
not
wrong-
talking? Oh, I got the wrong one. I'm sorry.
That would
See,
make it better.
You know why I do that? Because I always equate them with the position on the slider, and I shouldn't do that because I know it's not logical here. Let's do it again. Rewind. Now we're. Hey,
Scratch that,
here,
reverse it, try it again.
you be Spielberg. Tell us to do it over. Here we go.
All right, and action.
That's right. And with us here in the studio, see, it'll make it easier for me to edit on the podcast, is Take a Chance. Bartels is here. Now your mic's on.
Hello, my nostalgic cousins. Happy Saturday to you.
Nice to see you're getting up in the world.
Chances learn now that I won't touch this crappy microphone. I'll just move myself closer to it. If I'll move my head instead of moving it. So yeah, somebody's fixed it back the way it was, and that's not the correct way. But we're gonna have a good time today. I have a lot of. If I can reach them back here in the back, let me go back here. Here we go. All the stuff that I have to talk about here today. I'll tease a little bit of it, but in history we'll talk about that, and news flashes we'll talk about that. I know that Harrison Ford got hurt again. Big surprise. He really should have a handler on these movies and stuff. He got injured filming the new Indiana Jones film. We'll hit on that. A Three Stooges story. I was talking about how they got hurt by kids in public. I was going to do it last week, but I didn't get to it. We'll do it this week. And Warner Brothers. What's this story I've got? Yeah. This story comes from Tara Bennett at Sci-Fi. We'll talk about this. Things are starting to open back up for business with all this pandemic stuff, hopefully going away now for good until the next pandemic comes along. The studio tour they always did at Warner Brothers out in Hollywood, they reopened, and now they've added a DC movie museum, which is cool. All the DC comics, like Batman, Superman, all that stuff. We'll talk about that. And I know I teased this too once, but I never got around to it. We'll try to get to it today. Doctors may have found a new organ hidden in your head that we didn't know about. I'm like, really? I didn't know that. You're looking like you haven't heard what it is.
I'm trying to figure out what it is.
If it has something to do with forgetfulness, I know that I've had it for a long time, but I don't think it's that. And General Motors is building a lunar terrain vehicle for our return to the moon. We may do that later on in the program today if we have a moment of extra time to talk about. What else? I want to make sure And later on today, we're going to premiere kind of a new segment on the show, like in the second hour after 11:30 Eastern. We're going to take a snapshot nostalgic look back with Chance. He's going to talk about – I always notice that – I said, Chance, I don't – I think that it just fell off. The microphone just fell off. That's the great equipment that we have here.
That is a bad omen.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. Right when I introduce your segment. So yeah. So just pull the whole thing down. Don't grab by the mic though. That's when it comes off. Yeah, just when I talk about Chance's thing, the whole mic. Okay, now you let it go. Now see where it goes. Is all right? Okay, maybe I'll do it again. That'd be great. I'm scared to do this now. Coming up on the show today is Chance's segment of Freeze Frame Snapshot, where he's going to talk about. I'm only on Saturdays, and for some people say, thank God, because if he was on every day, we'd lose our minds. Things happen the week before, right? And then things happen the week after when I'm on. So Chance is going to kind of fill in he's going to try to fill in the gaps between last week and the week coming, especially if there's a big moment coming up like in history or something or happening or something like that. You're going to talk about it in this new segment that we're going to kind of try out on the show and see how it does, and we're going to do it today. Chance's Freeze Frame Snapshot.
That's right, my brother.
So it's going to be kind of fun. So we'll do that today. You got a lot to talk about on your segment today, so we'll kind of save it and wait as we come up. And then when we take a break here, I'm going to go out to the car because I have in the car I have a new welding equipment. I'm going to come in and weld this thing with a welder. So I've got 3 visors so we won't be blinded. I'll put you all in these sunglasses. So while we weld this microphone back to the stand so it won't fall off in Chance's face, God, it makes for great radio. I'm glad we're not a news show because that's a little more professional.
Do it live. We'll do it live.
Do it live. So thank you, Bill O'Reilly. Speaking of there, we got all that coming up, and the golden rage of TV with the Reverend Pat McCormack when we come back.
We'll return after these announcements.
I'm starved. Got any pizza in the freezer? We make fresh pizza. That's complicated. Not anymore. We use pizza in a skillet from Chef Boyardee. You really make it fresh in a skillet?
Sure. Everything comes in the box, and you make it on top of the stove in just 15 minutes.
Just spread the dough, then add the sauce and shredded cheese. Making it fresh makes it delicious. Delicious. And so fast. Pizza in a skillet from Chef Boyardee. Cook delicious homemade pizza in just 15 minutes.
Computer, request security procedure.
Identify for retina scan.
Kirk, Admiral James T.
Security scan approved.
And now, back to a guy who has no idea what a call of encroachment means, but he knows what roughing the listener is all about. It's BK on the air.
Friends, let me talk to you for just a moment, shall I? Do you have problems with your memory, remembering TV shows? Do you tend to forget about things like, is it the Munsters or is it the Addams Family? Did Dr. McCoy say that or did Dr. Smith say that? What about the Waltons? Or Little House on the Prairie? Whatever the affliction you have with your memory, put one of your hands against the device that you're listening to the program on right now and the other hand way up in the air, and let's visit with Reverend Pat McCormick with the Golden Rage of TV.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The Roy Rogers TV show ran for 6 seasons from 1951 to 57 for exactly 100 episodes. Born Leonard Sly on November 5th, 1911, Roy's show business name was inspired by an earlier cowboy star by the name of Will Rogers. Different from the many Western-themed TV shows of the time, this show mixed in 20th century technology such as telephones and automobiles alongside the traditional horse transportation and classic six-shooters. Co-starring with Roy's real-life wife, Dale Evans, and his bandmate from Sons of the Pioneers, Pat Brady, was one of the show's biggest stars, Roy's beautiful golden palomino, Trigger. And let's not forget Bullet the Wonder Dog. Early in his film career, the star was able to retain the rights to his name and likeness. Then with playsets, novels, action figures, a long-running comic book series, and more, Roy Rogers became second only to Walt Disney with his name on all the various merchandise. From 1961 to 64, CBS reran the show as part of their Saturday morning lineup. And then during the late 70s and early 80s, Roy returned to television, appearing on Wonder Woman, The Muppet Show, and The Fall Guy. Inducted into the Western Performers Hall of Fame and with 4 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, I'd say this king of the cowboys had some pretty happy trails. This is Pat McCormick with your retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. And now back to BK on the air.
Thank you, Pat. Speaking of Pat McCormick, great story, though, too, about Roy Rogers. My dad was the biggest Roy Rogers fan. Did your dad like Roy Rogers?
My mom did.
She grew up liking Roy.
And I love Dale also.
Like Lash LaRue, all those old Trigger happy cowboys back in the day, like all the serials and stuff. Speaking of that, and thanks, Pat McCormick, by the way, Golden Rage of TV. He's going to premiere his new Golden Rage of TV. You've been listening to reruns over the past few months because he's been kind of on hiatus, kind of like a real TV show would. It'd kind of go out of production for a little while and play reruns until the new episodes are back. He's being like a real television show. His new ones, I think, will start airing those starting next month. But speaking of Roy Rogers and old classic stars like that, you remember, I don't know if Alan remembers this, 1981, since it was 40 years ago, The Legend of the Lone Ranger came out in 1981. It was the new movie remake of The Lone Ranger back in the time. Starred a guy named Clinton Spilsbury, and I know when Eric hears this, caller Eric he hates that guy. He'll call in probably since I mentioned him.
Do we know what Clinton's voice sounds like?
No, we don't. Not if you watch that movie, you don't, because he was tough in that movie. So yeah, I thought that was funny. They didn't even like his own voice. I'm like, if you don't like your actor's voice, why did you cast him? Well, he fits the costume. I'm like, oh, is that the only reason? And he's cute. Okay, that's why. Legend of the Lone Ranger. Back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, Chance, because you're into nostalgia and you know a lot more about it than I do, a lot of the details. Clayton Moore, who played the original Lone Ranger on television, did ads on television for Foster Grant sunglasses, and they're like, who is that guy behind those Foster Grants? He's like, it's me, the Lone Ranger. Because he was acting like that was his mask. Well, he was doing personal appearances. I guess he found out the movie was coming out, so he was going to kind of take advantage of that, because he was the original Lone Ranger, going around appearing as the Lone Ranger with the mask on. And I don't know if it was Warner Brothers or whoever owned the rights to it tried to pull a cease and desist and make him stop doing that back in the early 80s. stop appearing as the Lone Ranger because they own the property. And I think it went to court or did something, and they settled or did something, and they found out after all was said and done, he started doing it again, so it was okay. So do you remember that at all?
I do.
When that happened?
It's a shame.
Was that what happened, or am I misrepresenting
no,
it?
That's absolutely correct.
And I thought that was crazy for them to do that. Leave the guy alone, for God's sake. I'm sure if I worked for Warner Brothers, I would have a different stance on it. Depends on who your point of view is. Isn't that like? Didn't someone say that in Return of the Jedi? It's a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view.
Obi-Wan told
Obi-Wan
Luke.
Kenobi. Yeah.
it was basically Obi-Wan's
what I told
justification.
you was the truth from a certain point of view.
It was Obi-Wan saying, "Yeah, I know I lied my butt off. I'm trying to cover it." So I thought that was good that Pat talked about Roy Rogers, and it made me remember Clayton Moore.
Happy trails to you.
And I forgot that Clayton Moore didn't play the Lone Ranger for a season. Some other guy came in and played him on the original show, and then the fans hated it. Big uproar. The guy did a great job, whoever stood in for him. I can't remember who it was. Someone knows the show more than me knows who it was.
Kind of like Coy and Vance and the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, the cousins, right? The cousins came in as the Dukes' cousins.
As the phony Duke boys.
And was that a problem? Did they have a problem with the
there was a salary
dispute. Schneider?
It was
contract
renegotiations.
But
they came back.
They did. The following
that's
season.
So funny.
When they lost so much market share, they go, "Yeah, maybe we had to pony this cash."
And that was a Warner Brothers show, so it comes full circle. Talking about Warner Brothers.
Good old Warner Brothers. Didn't it happen on Chips with Ponch and John too?
No. Oh, Bruce Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, replaced Ponch.
I still call him Bruce Jenner. Yeah.
So it was John and yeah.
Did he come back too, or did Bruce stay there for the rest of the show? He
came back.
He came back. Okay.
In fact, in the last season, Wilcox left, so it was
Larry
just
Wilcox,
Ponch in the final sixth season, 1982 to 83, and they replaced him with the new guy. There was a new partner.
Do you that makes me remember something else? Do you guys remember the National Lampoon's movies, Vacation with Chevy Chase? But do you remember the Loaded Weapon one they did?
Oh yeah,
with Emilio Estevez.
Yes.
And who else was in it? It was Samuel Jackson, right?
I don't know. I have to look it up. I remember seeing it in the theater, but I saw it only once.
Well, they respond to some kind of shooting at a building, and as they're walking up, Ponch and John, it's Eric Estrada and them from Chips, and they're shooting, and they're like, "Oh, you're looking for the other shooting? It's 4 doors down." And they're sitting there shooting at another guy with their motorcycles in the building, sitting on the motorcycle.
But the funny thing is, they never fired guns in Chips. The original Ponch and John, they never did. One time there was a gun drawn, but it was Baruchka or whatever his name, Baritzka, the cop in the cop car. He drew a gun on Danny Bonaducci in an episode called Karate.
Who hasn't?
Karate Part 2.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't know that.
You're right. It was Samuel L. Jackson just on
in Loaded Weapon.
Yeah.
What else Chips did? They may not have fired weapons. They may have not have fired guns.
A baton. Well, John had a baton.
But something else they did, which was crazy, is Chips was the show that I always learned that if you're going real fast on the freeway and you hit another car in the back, you'll jump over it like a ramp.
Right.
You won't just smash into it and total your car. you will defy the laws of physics. Only in Chips, in a California freeway, you will hit the back of the car and jump right over it. Like Dukes of Hazzard. I don't know how they did that, but it was great. They always did it. But Chips was a show. Talk about another great theme.
Women and stunts.
Music theme.
And Alan Silvestri did that music.
And Michael Dorn, Worf himself from
in
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Well, they had a different theme in season 1. John Parker. I'm sorry. John Parker scored the original Chips theme. Silvestri took over in season 2.
So I told you, Alan, once you crack Chance's knowledge open, it's open and it's going to pour out because he knows all of that. He knows the stuff that I don't know. If you put Chance together,
crack the dam.
If you put Chance together with Pat McCormick and James Install, their brains are like their brains aren't big when you look at them, but inside it's like the TARDIS on Doctor Who. It's like it's much bigger on.
They're like the timekeepers.
I know some of
the timekeepers of nostalgia.
Yeah. That's right. You know how
keep it all straight.
You know when there's when you let milk get warm in a cup or whatever, in room temperature, it develops a skin on the top.
Okay.
The skin of the fat, I guess. Gets on. That's me. I only scratch the top of the surface. I'm the iceberg you see on the outside of the ocean. You guys are below what the Titanic hit under that. So yeah, because I don't know all this stuff. I don't know the details.
What I like about you and Alan though is that you get the music right in terms of TV themes. Because in 1985, there was an album called TV's Greatest Hits, but they had a lot of reorchestrations.
Yeah.
A lot of jocks in other markets and other stations will play like the phony version of the theme, but guys always play the real ones, and that means something to me because I'm a nerd.
And you know what?
Oh, good.
We know why. You're right at home
Blind
on this
squirrels
show.
and broken clocks and all.
right once a day, right?
Yeah. Well, it clocks twice.
That's right. Clock is right twice a day, so that's even better.
It's like all these DJs, they always sample that album from 1985, TV's greatest hits.
And that one does have some of the real ones on it.
It does.
But I'm sure, and we've talked about it in the past, I'm sure it was because of music rights. They couldn't use the original one.
Or they didn't have the 35 millimeter. They didn't have access to the master
tape.
Right.
But they only had the version they taped off a microphone in front of their TV speaker. That wouldn't sound very good. I used to do that as a kid, too.
But today with YouTube, there's no excuse you can't go get exact sound files you want.
And remaster them a little bit in your program.
But make sure you always preview them. You never know when someone may have a game going on. I almost played a Bugs Bunny clip, the one where he puts the gangsters in the oven.
Right.
And then somebody changed the voiceover to be more like a Samuel L. Jackson voiceover versus the actual character.
And you have
Thank
to watch
God
out for
I didn't
that.
play it.
And you know what else they're doing, too? They're pranking people, too. At least that was through the whole recording. Sometimes when you check out recordings on YouTube, you need to really do preview it until the end of it, because some people do it on purpose. They'll play the actual clip from a movie, then at the end they'll put in something very horrible, profanity laden for people who are not paying attention and preview it, and it's at the end of the clip, so you really got to watch it.
Yeah, I preview every clip before I play it, just because that one time. Now, don't get me wrong. It was very funny.
Yeah, it was funny. And
if it was a podcast, no problem.
But going
FCC
out over the air
might take issue with what I would have played.
Going out over the air, it would have been interesting.
It would have been job ending.
You would have made the Bartow's Morning News that Monday.
Would have gone out with a bang.
Monday morning. No, they wouldn't have said anything about it here.
Local jock fired.
Yeah, but to Alan's point, I have a lot of clips on the Nostalgic Pod Blast this Sunday that are comedy bits of Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. So, to Alan's point, you don't have to worry about it with a podcast.
Oh, I can't wait. Is that what you're doing this Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. You know what's funny is when we have to reference, because I'll do that culturally. Something will happen. I'm like, oh, remember that Richard Pryor bit? Or remember, and when you're on the air, I have to like always dumb it down, and it's never as funny.
And you said the great clip of Robin Williams explaining golf is a great bit, but you could never play it.
You can't play it on the radio.
Air. You could play it on the air and edit it, but it wouldn't make any sense.
And you can redo it kind of, and it's somewhat funny.
Right.
But there's just something about the way Robin Williams, when he's allowed to use certain expletives for punctuation.
Which are some. What, by the way? Which ones are you talking about?
The good ones.
Oh, no, okay, good.
the seven words you're not supposed to say.
That's right.
I don't think he uses all 7, but he uses one quite effectively.
Isn't it more than 7 now, really?
Well, who knows?
No, it's less now. It's less. It is less.
It's less, but you can get fired for a lot more than just the words.
And for a while there, locally in Atlanta, Channel 36, I think it was, would show movies. Or no, 69. Channel appropriate.
No, 36, you're right.
36 would. I think 69. Some of them would show movies
WATL.
They were unedited.
Right.
Back in the 80s, and I don't know how they got away with it. I know it was on in the middle of the night.
And Elvira would host it a lot of times.
Played it. That's crazy.
Movie Macabre with Elvira.
I prefer Elvira unedited. Cassandra Peterson's Speaking There. We'll be back with more.
He played the world's most famous masked man. Then the courts took his mask away. How did this resourceful hero of yesteryear hide his identity?
Sun sensor lenses that change. Indoors, they're light. Outdoors, they change the dark sunglasses.
Oh, Silver Dollar. What were those sunglasses that stranger was wearing? Those were no ordinary sunglasses, ma'am. Those had sun sensor lenses.
Sun sensor lenses that change.
Come on, kids, get your sweaters. Let's go. Bye, Mom. Hot water wash. Okay. Cold water wash. Pretty clean. Oh, they didn't look that good. When can I stop kidding myself?
Right now. Out of the future comes all-temperature cheer with the all-temperature clean.
Must have powerful ingredients.
Certainly they're powerful. To give you the best-looking wash your world has seen in hot water, warm, cool, cold, and everything in between.
Terrific. Now that's white.
Cheer gives you a great-looking white in hot water.
And in cold water, that's clean.
Cheer beats even the leading cold water detergent.
Wait till you see my kids tomorrow.
I'll be watching. All-temperature cheer.
Boy, is this stuff clean and at all those temperatures. All temperature.
You're in the hands of an adolescent.
When it comes to shows about movies and comic books, heroes and crazy news, I tune into BK on the air from 10 to noon Saturdays.
Oh, yeah. having a groovy time off the air as much as on the air. It's BK on the air.
Hey, can I help with something really quick?
Sure, what do you want to
One of our callers can't seem to remember our phone number or how to use a phone. It's 770-386-1450.
Do I know the caller you're talking about?
It worked for me, so maybe our system has just been hit
caller
with a
I'm
filter.
thinking about? Is it that guy? Okay, maybe he'll call now. Since we actually mentioned Clinton Spilsbury from
That's probably what
Lone
did it.
Ranger. It's what did it.
I think he had a stroke, and he's not seeing the right numbers. He's just punching the wrong numbers because he's got like double vision
Well,
now.
something happened with him about a week ago that he didn't want me to mention on air. But every time
let's do it.
Every time he says, "No, don't talk about. I don't want anybody to know about this on the air," and I won't say anything about it. And then he'll come on the air and he'll say something about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you didn't want me to tell what happened to you on the air. Somebody's calling right now. Hey, it's BK on the air. Who's this?
It's Russell. How you doing, BK?
Oh, it's Russell. How you doing, Russell? You surprised me. That's awesome.
working.
How you doing?
I just wanted to call and tell you I know the perfect topic for your show next week.
You have a perfect topic for me on my show? What topic do you have for me?
Sports and how it enhances my life.
Oh, no. So you just said that so the alarm would go off. Sports and it. You know what? You joke about that. I can talk about a couple of them, and I'm involved. I was involved growing up in the weird sports that they don't televise. Well, they televise some of it. I love playing volleyball. Volleyball was fun. I was really good at it in high school. Played volleyball, which was fun. I like playing pool.
Pool's fun,
and I like bowling.
I do like bowling.
So those are the oddball sports that I play that I'm kind of okay at. But they're the ones that just aren't part. It's not football, baseball, and basketball and hockey and all that stuff, though. You know.
Well, I just wanted to see if I could enlighten your day today.
and knock off the alarm, right? Or the alarm would go off. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Good to hear from you.
Just remember those words. We all love football.
See, he did it again. All right, buddy.
Be good, BK. Y'all have a happy 4th.
See you, buddy.
Man. You too. Bye-bye.
You know what? I mean, with your wife, though, you've got no choice. Football is on in your house in the fall.
It is, but only then because she only watches and is interested in two
days.
Two teams.
Saturdays and Sundays.
Falcons and the Georgia Bulldogs.
Right.
That's
Unless
all
the Falcons are on a Monday schedule or a Thursday.
Right.
But, yeah, basically that's it.
And I always tell her before the Falcons play, I'm like, how do you know they're going to lose? So why do you watch?
What's amazing now is the connection between Mrs. BK and me. Wherever she is on a Falcon or Bulldogs day,
right,
I'm doing the exact same thing.
Exactly. Just not in the same room where I would have to know about it.
No.
Someone's not
Although
telling
we
me.
react sometimes differently to the outcomes.
She will. If the game is not going her way and it's not over yet, she'll turn it off. She's like, if she thinks they're going to lose, she will not watch the rest of the game. She'll leave the room. She'll turn it off and go away and not even. She can't handle it.
I remember there was a point in time where I would let it affect my mood. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm just going to go play a video game. I'm not going to let it ruin the rest of my day.
Do you know what I got interested in once and started watching, and I have no idea why I did this. It was just such an oddball thing. And it's not oddball in Japan, but I would watch it. I started watching sumo wrestling. They air it on one of the sports stations or whatever. I can't remember what it was. And it was sumo wrestling. And I'm like, I've seen this in a Bond film. And we got some James Bond stuff coming up later in the show today.
You only live twice.
I've seen it in a Bond film, and it's sumo wrestling. And it's really, there's a different art to it. It's not World Federation fake wrestling like America has. It's really these big guys are like trying to just throw each other out of the ring. That's all they're trying to do. In diapers, that's right. And I got to where I was watching it, but it was only fat. It only lasted like a week. Then I quit watching it. So I did watch it. So anybody that says I don't do sports at all, it's not really true. I do some of them, but I just don't make a 2-hour talk show out of it.
Right.
And do and have a pregame show that lasts for 5 hours before the actual game starts. I'm like, how are you going to do that? It's like crazy just leading up to the game.
I still to this day don't understand, especially on college football. You're going to talk for 3.5 hours before the game?
That's a long time to talk, especially if it's baseball, because baseball is basically people ask what I think about baseball. I'm like, oh, it's 4 hours of nothing happening. That's what baseball is. It's basically nothing happens for 4 hours. It's very boring. Not as boring as golf, though. I mean, come on. Golf is just... I want an alligator to show up in golf so much. Like, there's a gator coming toward the golfers right now.
They could make golf so much more fun if they allowed the guys to get drunk like you're supposed to do. I mean, it's the excuse to bring the beer on the golf cart, right? It's like fishing. Do you really fish? No, I drink beer and throw a line in.
And if they would add in every golf hole, all up to the 18th hole, if there was a small explosive in every hole as they went up to the 18th hole and it got bigger every time they got one in the hole, that would make it better too. just like Caddyshack. Well, it's time that we flash the audience of the news, the weird, the strange, and the bizarre, which I know we'll go over because we had a caller, and that's fine. We always take callers here on the program, but I think I gave you the first one, didn't I?
I do. I have the first news.
Yes.
And we're going to dive into a typical subject for these news flashes, your Guinness Book of World Records.
I thought it was nude skydivers. We used to have a lot of those there for some reason, but that's not that.
That was in this Guinness Book, remember?
It was. That's what I'm saying.
A grocery store chain broke a Guinness World Record at a Missouri location by preparing a serving of 13,000 pancakes.
Oh,
that's a lot of pancakes.
I could probably eat about 3,000 of them, but I'd have to stop then.
Did you ever get the silver dollar pancakes when you were a kid? Like you thought how cool that was to get all these little tiny pancakes. Like, look how many pancakes I ate.
And now I'm like, why?
Yeah, can I just have one giant one the size of the plate?
That's why they came out with the new Oreos, the Oreo Thins. I'm like, and they're tiny little Oreo cookies and they're thin. I'm like, why? Why would I? And they're the same price.
That way you can eat twice as many.
Well, wait a minute. I didn't even think about that facet of it. Wow. Okay, then
makes you feel better about yourself.
I'm there.
Well, Hy-Vee assembled, I guess that's the name of the store, Hy-Vee assembled a team of 13 chefs Thursday at the chain's store in Blue Springs to spend 7 hours, 16 minutes cooking up to 13,000 pancakes. A Guinness adjudicator was on hand to verify that the serving of pancakes broke the record of 12,716, which was set in Russia back in 2017. The pancakes were donated to Harvesters, the Community Food Network, a regional food bank serving the greater Kansas City area in both Missouri and Kansas. The record attempt was timed to coincide with the launch of Hy-Vee's Best Breakfast in America menu.
Now, let me ask a question because I think there was a controversy about this many years ago. Waffles, pancakes. Is the batter the same and it's just the shape that's different? Is that true? What do you think? I've always thought they're the same exact thing, except waffles have this waffle pattern on it, and they're just cooked differently. Or is it the same batter for both?
You could use the same batter.
You could,
but the recipes are a little
them?
different.
For Belgian waffles, it's different.
Right, only for Belgian one, those, right? But basically, it's pretty much the same.
But you could make the exact same batter for both.
I do like waffles because they have the little squares where the syrup stays in there, like little cups.
That's what I love.
Which is nice, and you spread your butter on there, and it kind of just spread it out.
Do you make sure you've got syrup in every one of the little squares?
Of course I
yes.
do. Yeah,
my wife's like, look at me, she goes, just squirt it in the middle. I'm like, no.
Okay. No, that's incorrect.
No, I drizzle from, I like to connect it. I'm like playing Snake on my waffle.
It's a work of art.
And pancakes are already not very healthy anyway, so I make them even more unhealthy by doing this. If there's a stack of maybe 3, I take the first pancake, layer of butter, layer of syrup. Second pancake, layer of butter, layer of syrup. Third pancake on the top, layer of butter, layer of syrup. It's like I'm icing a cake, like together. That's how I make them, so it's just the way I make them.
Great. Now I have to go to the Awful Waffle after the show.
You got to get one now, because we'll start talking about stuff, especially the food talk that you do on your show. Sometimes I'll get hungry listening to the show. I really do.
I do all the time. That's why I'm a foodie. I'll tell you what we love to do. Food for dinner, or breakfast for dinner sometimes.
Breakfast for dinner.
If you've never done that, treat your kids. It's so cool to do a pancake dinner.
Why is bacon, eggs, pancakes, and stuff, why was it only made for breakfast? It's still food. Think about it. It's still just food.
Works perfect for dinner.
I mean, sometimes we've had different food for breakfast. That's dinner food. We'll change
it
up.
I'll tell you, my kids thought that was the coolest thing when we would do that from time to time. Like, what do you want to do? You want to do breakfast for dinner? Like, we're doing pancakes and eggs. And it was like the biggest treat in the world to them.
With grits. You got to have the grits. It's a Southern thing.
I was just glad there was food. It's whatever. What are you serving, Mom? I don't care. Just serve it. I'll eat it. I got the next news. Let's go to a break there before I finish this. We're going crazy. The Port Jefferson Fire Department said crews responded alongside the Terryville Fire Department in Suffolk County Police Department in Port Jefferson, which I guess that's in, where is that? In New York, I guess.
I guess it's in Port Jefferson.
When a teenager became trapped inside a dressing room at the Kate and Hale clothing store. The problem was that dressing room used to be a bank vault. In this place. Teenager Smithtown resident Giovanna DeCio said she had been shopping with her family when her 7-year-old brother pushed and propped a steel door that led into the changing area closed on her on the other side. How weird is that? There's money in here, too. What's it doing? We'll be back.
We'll return after these messages. Presenting the Clapper. Let your appliances turn on and off just by clapping.
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off.
The Clapper.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey, it's BK on the air. Do you know there's a new bicycle shop here in Cartersville? It's called Cartersville Bicycle Service and Supply. They offer maintenance and repairs of all bicycles, as well as parts, accessories, and, of course, brand new bicycles. Whether you're a veteran rider or just starting out, Cartersville Bike has what you need to get out and enjoy the roads and the trails that you want to ride on. Stop in and see them. Come on, they're located on the corner of West Avenue and Tennessee Street, right here in Cartersville. They're open every day, 7 days a week, from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can call them up at 470-315-BIKE, 470-315-BIKE, or 2453 if you desire. Or search Cartersville Bicycle on Facebook. And go by there, because last weekend, Chance Bartels and I went by Cartersville Bike and said hi. And it's a nice place over there, isn't it? We checked it out. Nice building.
It's an awesome operation. And it smells good, too.
It smells like tires in there. I love you. Before you walked in, Chance is like, oh, this place smells good, because I love how bike shops smell. And it did. It smelled really good. I like going to get new tires on my car, because it's the same thing, you know. I like the smell of fresh tires in the morning. What does that say about me?
And that is an aroma.
It is. That's an aroma.
That's
correct.
A pleasant. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that I use the word aroma wrong when it comes to flagellants. I don't know why I did that. That's an aroma. Oh, you must like it then. Sorry.
There might be some people who do.
No, not me. I screwed up on that. I take that back. It's not a pleasant aroma. We were talking before the break. We're flashing the audience, and we're talking about how a teenager got locked into a bank vault, which was doubling, I guess, as a dressing room. She and her family and the store's employees soon discovered the door would not reopen when she went into the dressing room. Danielle DeCio, the girl's mother, called 911, and William Shatner answered and sent somebody out there, Rescue 911. Assistant Fire Chief Steve Erland of the Port Jefferson Fire Department said the first order of business was making sure the teenager did not run out of breathable air. Firefighters said it took about 90 minutes to break through the wall and free the girl in the dressing room, who was not injured. Erland said the wall was 18 inches of brick and concrete. Well, buddy, that would keep you from getting out right there. But I think that would be something they need to address before they ever made it a dressing room.
I was going to ask, when did they just overlook the idea that, if someone accidentally closes this door, we might have a problem?
And do you have to? I mean, it's a dressing room, is that the only door you close for privacy? I mean, what's going on? I mean, is there another door?
That's
and
crazy.
It's like it's a shoplifting deterrent. If you close this door, you're not leaving with these clothes. You're going to be trapped in the vault for the rest of your life.
All right, I've got the next news. We're going to head to Massachusetts. Hey, a bar. That's my kind of place.
A bar? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're Mr. Pub
Wait,
Crawl.
do they have alcohol?
Mr. Pub
My
Crawl
kind of place.
guy. By the way, you wouldn't care getting locked in a dressing room bank vault if it was, I don't know, on the set of a Charlize Theron movie. You'd be all right with that, wouldn't you?
If we were locked in an elevator together, we'd find a way to pass the time.
And that's all I got to say about that.
About all I got to say about that.
Sorry.
I know what love is. Do we have somebody on?
Yeah, we'll see who it is. 770-386-1450. Somebody's on the line right now. Hello, who's this? Hello?
Oop.
Oh, they hung up.
They hung up.
They'll call back.
All right. Well, a Massachusetts bar announced it will accept Monopoly money as currency for 2 hours as part of its bid to be included in a localized version of the game. We'll go ahead and take the call.
They're back on the line. They're calling back. Hey, I know who this is. Hey, Barbara, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. I want to tell you what happened to me one time.
Did you get locked in a dressing room in a bank vault?
With Charlize Theron?
No, not that.
Okay, are you going to listen to me or not?
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, ma'am.
That was Alan. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I was in a department store. It was J.C. Penney's, and I was upstairs in the beauty salon. We ran a little bit late, and when we came out of the beauty salon, it was pitch black.
Oh, no, the store was closed.
The store was closed.
Oh, no. What'd you do? Did you stay the rest of the night in the store just playing and trying on clothes and stuff and playing with toys?
No, dummy.
No, dummy?
Sorry.
Stop interrupting.
The girl that I was with called security, and they came and let us out.
Oh, my God. Now, were you scared at all?
No.
Oh, you weren't scared?
It was a real adventure.
Oh, now how old were you back when that happened? When that happened to you?
Oh, I was grown. I was an adult.
Okay, and was it a JCPenney in Atlanta or locally in Johor?
Yes, it was at let's see,
Lennox?
It was in East Point.
East Point. Oh, okay, got you. Wow.
East Point, JCPenney in East Point.
Well, we weren't very cultured in Alabama growing up, but you know what we called JCPenney in Alabama growing up? We call it Jacques Penier.
Huh?
Jacques Pinier. You're going to go, oh, you got those shoes from Jacques Pinier. Okay. That's nice.
Hey, I used to have, and she's still a friend of mine, a hairdresser from Alabama.
Yeah.
And on Wednesdays, especially if it rained, the construction guys would come in to have their hair cut. Really? And they would tease her unmercifully about being from Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where Forrest Gump was from. That says it all.
That's right. But she was smart. She went right along with them. And she'd say, you're right. They're dumb as hammers.
Well, I thought it would be great as a kid. Sears, the department store Sears, used to have a section of Sears called the Toy Box. It was their toy section, and it was called the Toy Box in the 70s when I was a kid. And I would dream about being locked in that store overnight. I would have loved that. I would have broken out every Star Wars figure and toy and everything on G.I. Joe that I could have got of it, and we'd had a huge battle in the store. It would have been great.
That's great. Well, I'll tell you one more thing, and then I'll let you go. My first job was working in a hardware store. Yeah, my dad was the manager, and they had a toy section, so he wanted me to work there and help at Christmas time sell toys.
Ooh, the best time, yeah.
But I weighed nails and all kinds. It was an interesting job. I like hardware.
So working in a hardware store, you know exactly what it means when someone's as dumb as a box of hammers, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Barbara, thank you. Always good to hear from you, sweetie.
Okay.
Oh, bye-bye.
There's nepotism in the hardware business.
Yeah, nepotism. Yeah. Barbara, extra feisty this morning.
People often mistake that I was in the hardware business because I kept saying I get hammered. Speaking of hammered, let's go back to our bar in Massachusetts.
Because you know all about computers and stuff now. So
I do. Right. Massachusetts bar, let me recap this, announced it will accept Monopoly money as currency for 2 hours as part of its bid to be included in a localized version of the game. Ralph's Tavern in Worcester, I don't know if they call it Worcester, but it's Worcester, and customers who visit the business from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Wednesday can use Monopoly money to pay the $5 cover charge, and the play money will also be accepted for hot dogs, non-alcoholic Jell-O shots.
Aww.
Isn't that just Jell-O?
Great.
And tickets for a raffle.
What do you take when you take away from it? What is it? It's just Jell-O.
It's just Jell-O. Well, it's a square. It's still Jell-O. You don't call it a Jell-O shot.
That's right.
It's missing a key ingredient. The bar owner said state laws bar the business from accepting monopoly money for alcoholic beverages, so legal tender will still be required for drinks.
Well, of
Ralph's,
course.
which bills itself as the oldest tavern in Worcester, is campaigning to be included in a localized Worcester version of Monopoly, which is being produced by Top Trumps USA, the company licensed by Hasbro to produce localized Monopoly games. That's kind of cool, like town squares having like their own version of like a live-action Monopoly.
We always joked as kids, we thought we were rich because we're like, man, if we could use Monopoly money, we'd be rich because we had 2 Monopoly games and we put the money together to have more money so the bank wouldn't run out. And we're like, we'd be rich beyond our wildest dreams if we could just spend Monopoly money. Now, talking about how, without the alcohol, it's just Jell-O shots. Mm-hmm. Remember when we were talking about on the air, we saw these things called fat-free cheese or fat-free butter, and when I would see stuff like that, I'm like, what is fat-free cheese? What is it?
Like, what has to be in it?
Because cheese is, 99.9% fat, I guess? What is this exactly? I don't know how you get fat-free when something's made out of fat. It's like, hey, look, we're selling fat-free fat.
You look at the back; it looks like the ingredients to some mad scientist concoction.
Wait a minute, these are
silicone.
They must come from outer space.
I'm telling you,
these ingredients are like
it's Horta eggs.
And we first tried Mrs. BK baked a little bit this past weekend, some different things, and she used how you can get the egg whites only in a carton. It's just the egg whites only, and I'm like, let me try some of these. I made an egg white omelet out of what was left over, and it was actually pretty good. I've never tried just the egg whites only, and it was nice. I don't have enough time to do the last news flash, so we'll do that coming back after the top of the hour. So we've been rolling along with all kinds of stuff today because the show is like at warp speed. I think we're doing warp 8.5 maybe or something like that. We're pushing the limits. It can't take much more of this. We'll do that. We got Chance's thing coming up today. Give them a quick little preview. What are you going to be kind of hitting on today, like that happened over the past couple of weeks?
Well, get ready to roll your tongue sound-wise. Going to talk about Farrah Fawcett, who just passed away.
Yes.
The 12th anniversary of her passing was yesterday.
Yeah. That's right. And Michael Jackson on the same day.
And there's some other things in the news we'll cover as well. I don't want to give it all away.
You're covering things kind of the week before and the weekend and the week after the time we're not on the air, and I think that's kind of cool because it's like extra coverage. It's like when Alan talks about putting syrup on a waffle, we're getting all the little squares.
Got to hit it all
up together. So.
Don't leave a square empty. It goes to bed sad at night if there's no syrup in it.
That's right. And I had a preference. I liked pancakes more than waffles because I had pancakes first. I didn't have waffles till many years later when I was older. For some reason, I just never had any. And it was only then when I would go to a restaurant to get them. Now, some people have their own waffle maker at home. And you know something else I've never had? Now, when I said this on the air, when I said I never had Capri Sun, I appeared on somebody's podcast. In the room here, somebody's and it could be any of us because all three of us have one. Somebody in the room here has a podcast that I appeared on, and he got me a Capri Sun, and I tried it on the air live.
That would be me.
And that's right. You got a Capri Sun from me, and you didn't even open it for me. You let me pierce the whole thing with the straw and everything. Because
the stabbing motion's part of the fun. That's right. All the fun.
I'll tell you something else I've never had, and maybe if I appear on the Nostalgic Podcast again, you can get me this. I have never ever tried an Eggo waffle. I've had waffles.
No, wait a second.
But I've never had one at home, and I've never made an Eggo. I've never
foul. I'm throwing the BS flag.
No, I haven't. And
on the field.
I've never said Lego my Eggo.
Somebody gave it to you. You didn't know what it was.
That could be true.
That's it.
I might have thought it was just a waffle, but it would have been too small. So I've never had an Eggo waffle. Never have.
Get ready to be disappointed if you're used to the ones at Waffle House.
No, I like the buttermilk.
Alan never had crystal hamburgers. He tried some on the air. Last year?
Someone forced me to eat a crystal burger a year and a half
There was no
ago.
gun to your head. They just brought it to the studio and we tried.
They walked in and made me.
He didn't like
felt
crystals.
Obligated.
He didn't like crystals.
You know, it was great because I visited it for like the next 3 hours after.
That's part of the experience. That's part of the experience. They stay with you. As we get on there, we'll take a break. We'll be back.
Steak and Ale welcomes you back to the old country inn.
Come sup with us at Steak and Ale, where hearty dining abounds.
This takes me back to the old days, a place to relax and enjoy a good hearty meal, like this Kensington Club.
The Kensington Club is a sirloin steak, marinated to taste. Lovingly grilled for just the right time, it even compares with our ribs in their prime.
Come join us. It'll be like old times.
Come sup with us at Steak and Ale.
The following motion picture has been rated PG by the Motion Picture Association of America, as it deals with mature subject matter and may contain strong language, nudity, or scenes of violence. Parental guidance is suggested.
Remember, if for any reason you must leave your radio, please have the man at the door stamp your ear so you can listen again later.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Welcome to Star Wars Extra, bringing you the latest from across the Star Wars galaxy. I'm your host, Mike Mann.
Hello there.
This week brings us some news regarding the secretive future Star Wars title, The Acolyte. In an interview with AV Club, Star Wars superfan, The Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland explains what inspired her and what exactly she is looking for while creating the writing crew. Specifically, why she decided to include writers who hadn't necessarily been pre-immersed in Star Wars lore or some level of fandom. One writer even shared that she had never even seen any form of Star Wars media until joining the creative team. With Headland's creative approach to the series being billed as a sci-fi mystery thriller, a genre collab that hasn't been utilized in the Star Wars universe yet, a time period that has been untouched before now, and a dash of the dark side, The Acolyte will definitely be a must-see. Additionally, this week brought us the news from Disney and Lucasfilm that The Acolyte will officially begin filming February 2022 in London.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Next up, we have the weekly installment of The Bad Batch, with episode 9 titled Bounty Lost. In what is possibly one of the most important and notable episodes of the series thus far, Clone Force 99 continues their battle with their fallen brother Crosshair, all while the notorious bounty hunter Cad Bane continues his trek to Omega's bounty setter. As we see yet another familiar face, and most importantly in this episode, Omega's true identity is finally revealed. Who or what is Omega? Do the boys fend off their fallen brother? Does Cad Bane swing through the local biscuit baron and grab a jolly meal for Omega? All these answers are currently streaming on Disney+.
Hello.
What's that?
Adolescent human female. Origins uncertain.
My name's Omega. I was wondering when you guys would come back.
And last up this week, Disney Plus recently announced that due to the success of the new Marvel Loki series being released on Wednesdays, the platform will now be moving all new weekly series to a midweek release. And what does that mean for Star Wars? The Bad Batch, which is currently mid-season in its 16-episode Season 1, will remain on the Friday release schedule. Star Wars fans needn't worry about waking up midweek to discover they've missed a release. For now. With the next Star Wars titles set to be The Book of Boba Fett, Andor, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, fans can almost expect this new time frame. Some good info to know so one can stay current with the galaxy far, far away.
Impressive. Most impressive.
That's all the time we have. Don't forget to visit us on the Star Wars Extra YouTube channel and go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. Also, check out the Star Wars Extra podcast streaming on Anchor and Spotify. Tune back in next week for all latest and greatest in Star Wars. And for Star Wars Extra, I'm Mike Mann. And now back to the retro geek of nostalgia and fun, BK on the air.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, talking about Star Wars, we were talking this week that our local retro arcade that we have in Kennesaw, Georgia, called
Portal Pinball,
has debuted a new pinball machine. Chance, you know all about it. Tell them which pinball machine that they've got there now.
It's based on the Mandalorian Disney Plus series, and it's excellent. I've seen the trailer, and we both posted it on our Facebook page. It's BK on the Air's Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
Has a nice trailer. It's about a minute long, and it shows how the game is played. But it's expertly designed by Stern Electronics and Stern Pinball. And Portal Pinball in Kennesaw, Georgia, has it for your enjoyment, and you can go play there every day except Monday when they're closed.
So I didn't know that Stern was still making pinball machines. They're the old companies that have been around for years, aren't they?
They have for
Stern.
years. Typically,
and what was the other one? Bally.
And
B-A-L-L-Y.
Williams,
yeah. I wonder if they're still around. Gottlieb, whatever how you say it, yeah.
But
I wonder if
Stern,
they're still around.
They've been making pinball machines. They have an AC/DC machine. They have an Iron Maiden machine. They've been focusing on rock bands in recent years. There's a Walking Dead machine. I'm on it on the playfield.
Is there a Metallica one?
As a zombie. Yes, there's a Metallica.
Because Alan will play that one.
Yeah.
I would play the Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden would be all right.
But, for me, the theme of the pinball machine never mattered to me because I've played ones where it was a theme that I love, but I'd play the machine and it wasn't all that interesting. See, if I found one that was like, so you like Metallica, but if they ever came out with like a Bee Gees pinball machine, and it could be more fun to play. It just depends on what the levels look like and
Honestly,
what they do. It's crazy.
I love pinball. I would just play whatever pinball that I started feeling like I had a sense of the bumpers and a sense of the navigate, and I would just play that based on the play versus necessarily the theme.
Yeah, but the
theme might get me to try it the first time.
There's great artwork on the backdrop on the back, which is great.
And there's great eye-hand coordination exercise, really, when you play pinball. Really is.
Yeah, I know people that have none of that. See, I've always been good at kind of like video games, but the video games, not the new ones, because I've never played the new ones like Medal of Honor, which looks like a really great game to play. I'm talking about the ones like in the old days, like Pac-Man, Asteroids. I was always good at those. And at least I'm good at something.
I hope they have the actors' voices in this. Like, I have an Indiana Jones, the Pinball Adventure Machine from 1993, and it has Harrison Ford's voice. It has sampling. And in recent years, that's gone away because of lawyers and royalties and unions.
It's the heavy metal WKRP
SAG
treatment thing, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully the Mandalorian has the actual voices. That just adds an added level of dimension to the game.
Yeah. And special sound effects, too. I bet it's fun. Yeah. We'll probably go next week and check it out and give everybody a preview of it next weekend or something. Maybe we'll get the chance to go check it out.
I'm in.
Maybe I'll have a chance with Chance to go check it out and
wait a minute. So you thought my slip of the tongue, so you want to have a chance with Chance, huh? Okay.
At the pinball machine place.
See, hey, you take any couple of words out of context. That's all it takes. Look, when YouTube goes down, you can take a chance with Chance.
Okay. That's fair enough.
That's a reference to something I said on my little show, the
It's
Nostalgic Pod Blast.
It's not a little show. That's a big show. You talked about Star Wars and segue into it. It was a good time to talk about the Mandalorian pinball machine. But let's talk something else. Let's talk about Harrison Ford. He was Han Solo. What is it with Harrison Ford getting hurt all of a sudden on things? And messing up as piloting his plane. Wasn't there? Someone reminded me there was 2 instances with him as a pilot where he messed up. One where he crashed into a graveyard, or was a golf course?
No, golf course.
I thought it was a graveyard. Sorry, what's the difference? But
could have been his graveyard.
Could have been. And the other one wasn't the other one that was he taxiing and came in over a plane.
He came into where a plane was taking off and he wasn't following flight instruction and nearly caused a collision.
I didn't know you could fly a plane. Why, yes. Land? No.
And he recently suffered an injury on set of the new Indiana Jones film in England, but I understand it wasn't even during a scene. He was rehearsing something or whatever, and he hurt. and Sean and I were joking. We're like, if he'd have broke his hip, that joke would have been gone on for 2 years if it had been a hip injury. Oh wait, I got up, I broke my hip, I just moved. That would have been terrible if that had been happened too. But it was a shoulder injury.
Fast.
And then I read an updated article yesterday saying the injury was worse than they thought, so it may affect what's going on.
I threw a tantrum and threw the script at the director and pulled my shoulder.
Hey, kid, if they're looking at your hair, it's the wrong kind of movie, or whatever he said to Mark Hamill about his hair.
Yeah.
That's just bad.
I got dressed too fast.
It's a coincidence with him. He just gets
wardrobe.
hurt and stuff.
They made me raise my arm.
Harrison Ford's on our set of our movie. Okay, how much insurance do we have on him? Check out his insurance coverage.
J.J. Abrams dropped the door on him, broke his leg during Force Awakens.
Was it his toe or his ankle or his leg? See, what's going on? Was it the Millennium Falcon door, I guess? It might have been.
It was.
Speaking of there, we'll be back with more. We won't get hurt either, I hope.
Bowling sure makes me hot and thirsty.
This is a job for Kool-Aid. Hey, Kool-Aid!
Oh, yeah! Kool-Aid's here, bringing you fun. Kool-Aid's got thirst on the run. Get a big, wide, happy ear to ear. Kool-Aid smile, 'cause the biggest smile is a Kool-Aid smile. A Kool-Aid smile, a Kool-Aid smile.
Your friend's cool.
My friend's Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid brand soft drink.
New from K-Tel Records, 22 explosive hits, 22 original stars, gallery.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you.
The great Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, the Candyman can.
Olivia Newton-John.
If not for you.
Hamilton, Joe, Frank, and Reynolds.
Don't pour your love out on me.
Derek and the Dominoes' big hit, Layla. Osmonds, Detroit Emeralds, Millie Jackson, Flash, April Wine, Charlotte's, Pop Tops, Fortune.
Here comes that rainy day feeling again.
Joe Simon.
You got power in your kiss.
Lobo.
Possible man.
Hot Butters, Popcorn. And many more. Get K-Tel's 22 explosive hits now. 22 original stars and one great stereo LP. Only $3.99.
You're not on. There you are.
I'm on.
No, you're on.
Wow. How did I do that?
I was on, but thank you for leaving me on and turning you off. That was a change.
Does everyone understand now why I'm not on the air by myself? And I even added someone else now to really cover me because you guys are like my pro-pilot assist in my car. You know, like the lane departure warning thing. That's what you guys do when I'm here. To be on this day in history, June the 26th, 1894, Carl Benz of Germany receives a U.S. patent for what, Alan?
The combustion engine. The first automobile.
What do you guess? Chance, Carl Benz from Germany. What would he want a patent for in 1894? Just a guess.
Something to do with the Mercedes-Benz.
It could be something to do with it. He gets a patent for the gasoline-driven automobile is what he wants a patent for. 1927, on this date, the Cyclone roller coaster opens for the first time on Coney Island for the first time. 27, a roller coaster. We've had them for a long time. 1974, on this day in history, actress Elizabeth Taylor's fifth divorce from actor Richard Burton. She's divorced him for the fifth time. Oh, boy, was she
that was
known for that.
Her fifth divorce, second time from him.
From actor Richard Burton. It's just crazy, yeah. 1977, Elvis sings in Indianapolis. It was the last performance of his career on this date in 1977. Elvis Presley has left the performance stage.
Thank you very much.
1997, on this day in history, June the 26th, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, first book in the J.K. Rowling's best-selling series, is published on this day. 97, way back in the day.
You know, people get all bent out of shape over people with success. Do you realize that she had been rejected
She had
multiple times for the story, and now she's worth over $1 billion.
And didn't she used to be just like a housewife?
She had been. She was left. She was left as a single mom.
Yeah,
then got out of work. Was living on assistance and was writing out her scripts on napkins in a diner.
And look at her now. Look where she is. It's amazing. 1979, a movie premiered on this date in 1979.
Roger Moore is James Bond 007 in Ian Fleming's Moonraker. And Jaws is back to put the bite on Bond. James Bond and Jaws are face-to-face in outer space in Moonraker. Moonraker, Certificate A, Odeon Leicester Square in Dolby Stereo. Where all the other Bonds end, Moonraker begins. Now showing Odeon Leicester Square.
In case you're going to the theater in London, you know.
Yes, I like being in the UK watching.
You want to know where it's playing. So I love those radio spots for James Bond. On this day in history, 1981, two more movies opened on this day. And we say 81 because it was 20 years ago. We like to throw
20?
it in. I'm sorry.
40.
What am I saying? 40 years.
I wish it was only 20.
I still can't accept that it's
I know,
40
me too.
years ago.
Dragon
Slayer, the Paramount Disney venture together, Dragon Slayer, which I thought was a great movie and one of the best, still to this day, one of the best dragon effects in a film because the dragon in that movie looks fantastic. Did you see Dragon Slayer?
I have. I've seen Dragon's Lair, played it a lot. But
Dragon Slayer is fun. Dragon Slayer is a great movie.
I've seen Dragon Slayer, I think, once, but I don't remember a lot of it. I remember the fire effects and how cool the practical robotic monster was for the dragon.
It was a stop motion one. Same as
but
a rod,
they used practical
it was a rod
too.
Puppet. I'm sorry, it was a rod puppet. But close ups, it was a full size, like they did in Jurassic Park. They made the full size T-Rex.
Same thing like they did with the was it 79 version of King Kong with Jeff Bridges, where they had the hand. It was a real hand and an arm.
76 version, yeah. And then they built 76? A full size Kong that just stood up for like a 3-second scene. Is all they used it.
And then they used a man in a suit.
Yeah, it was so poorly they didn't want to use it. Dragon Slayer opened, and there's a big controversy when that came out. I remember it was 81, but it was. I don't know if it was the beginning of Touchstone. Touchstone wasn't in existence yet, but it was a Paramount Disney joint movie, and it had a quick flash of nudity in it, and it was Disney attached to it, and there was a big kind of a controversy.
That may have been why they decided to create Touchstone Pictures.
They could have. Another Bond movie opened on this day in history, 1981. 40 years ago, For Your Eyes Only. Roger Moore's. That movie was a backlash to Moonraker, I heard. Moonraker came out, was a big smash. People don't understand. Money-wise, over the years, Moonraker was the most profitable James Bond movie that ever came out. Made more money than any other film. But a lot of people go, it's kind of crazy. It's outer space. It's unbelievable. It's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's James Bond,
It was great.
It's James Bond. Moonraker was fun. And it was only made, as we know, because of Star Wars.
It was supposed to be released after The Spy Who Loved Me. At the end credits says James Bond will return in For Your Eyes Only, but Star Wars was released, so the space race was on at the cinema.
Right. The end slate is incorrect in that one. You're right when that one came out. For Your Eyes Only, they took a different approach. They're like, if you remember For Your Eyes Only, if you haven't seen it lately, watch it. It's the most low-tech Bond film that's out there. He uses less gadgets in it, less over-the-top stuff. It's still Roger Moore, but they got so much backlash because of Moonraker. For Your Eyes Only came out, and they hardly used any gadgets and stuff.
And they blew up the Lotus.
They did.
Remember Burglar Alarm? This thug smashes the glass.
He has the best burglar alarm.
With his machine gun, and he gets destroyed, and so does the car.
Blow it up. Another movie premiered on this day in history, 1987. Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket opened on this day. Another great film by
Fantastic
Stanley Kubrick.
movie.
I love that movie. Birthdays today. Today is Peter Lorre's birthday. Today. He died in 1964.
You can't wish somebody back from the dead.
Yes. Today is Terry Nunn's birthday, too. Remember the lead singer of Berlin, the group Berlin? She's nice on the eyes.
Wild hair.
Yes. And today is Chris O'Donnell's birthday, actor. He played a pretty decent Robin in Batman Forever, I thought. We won't mention Batman and Robin.
Much better in Scent of a Woman, though.
Very good actor. He's very good. Isn't he on one of the NCI police shows?
I don't know where he is now.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Doing something. And today is filmmaker and director Paul Thomas Anderson's birthday today, director of movie Magnolia and Boogie Nights. I think he's the only director Burt Reynolds punched in the face, I think. Because I heard that him and Burt Reynolds did not get along on Boogie Nights. Burt didn't want to do Boogie Nights. They came to him 5 times saying, please do this movie, please do this movie. And he finally did it. And I don't think Burt Reynolds still ever loved it. He might have had a love-hate relationship with the movie, but it's still, along with Deliverance, some of the best acting he ever did.
He had a problem with that, but then he played Uncle Jesse in that terrible Dukes of Hazzard movie.
Why would he do that? That's crazy. And did you know that he had a falling out, or someone didn't like that he did the Dukes of Hazzard movie? I interviewed...
No, he was Boss Hogg, forgive me.
Boss Hogg. Many years ago, I interviewed James Best, the guy that played Roscoe P. Coltrane on the original Dukes of Hazzard television show. And he found out, he goes, well, I'm glad that they did a Dukes of Hazzard movie. They were doing it, but when they came out with it, he goes, with the Dukes of Hazzard, when we did it as a show, it was for kids. Anybody could watch it. But that new movie, he says it had too much raunchy stuff in it, and it was just in poor taste. And Burt Reynolds did it without... James Best and Burt Reynolds were real good friends because James Best was in Hooper with him, the Stuntman movie, and they were buddies. And when he found out Burt Reynolds was doing the movie and didn't tell him, he got mad about that. He's like, you're Boss Hogg in that horrible thing? I don't know if they ever made up after that.
Come on, Flash.
That's right. Today is National Something Today, and today is no different. National Barcode Day today.
Okay.
It's a barcode. And I know it commemorates more than 40 years of efficiency and accuracy that began on June the 26th. When do you think barcodes were first started being scanned? I did not know the year.
UPC codes?
Yeah. When did they start scanning them? What year?
I'm going to guess 1968.
You say 68. Alan says.
No, I'm going to say early 70s, like 73, 74.
A little closer, 1974. When a clerk scanned a 10-pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit gum at a Marsh supermarket in Troy, Ohio. That's when it was first used on that day. The barcode system invented by George Lauer, an IBM engineer. You're familiar with those three letters, aren't you?
I know, yeah.
Began to change the world when it got rid of cash register things.
Do you know what that stands for, UPC? Universal Product Code.
Yeah.
I know what IBM stands for. It means I've been moved.
I've been misled.
Or that. A bunch of them. Sure.
I've been mismanaged.
Maybe some you can't say on the air, maybe?
Right.
Today is National Coconut Day.
I like coconut.
Tell you something about coconut. I like coconut, but I don't like eating one. I hate the texture and the chewiness of coconut. I like the flavor of it, though. I don't like the...
Do you like Almond Joy?
It just stays in my mouth forever. They're okay.
Almond Joy candy
they got
bar?
coconut.
Because some days I feel like a nut.
Which one has the nut and which one doesn't?
Almond Joy.
Okay, that's right.
Mounds
I should know
is
that
not
from the jingle. I should pull that one down for the podcast. Today is National Beautician's Day. Today, nice.
Okay.
Today is National Chocolate Pudding Day too. So there's this day in history. Chance may hit on some more things after the bottom of the hour.
Like one more birthday, like Robert Davi, who was a Bond villain in License to Kill.
That's right.
The second and last Timothy Dalton James Bond movie.
And he was one of the goofy FBI agents in Die Hard.
That's right.
Is that right? Yeah. Remember the agents in Die Hard?
Yeah.
Robert.
He was one of the Johnson & Johnson agents.
And what's funny is the guy that's the agent with him was in...
Right.
No, he's in License to Kill, too.
License to Kill.
He's the agent of the other agent. It's funny that they're both in Die Hard.
Robert Davi, great actor, and I'm not saying this to disparage him, but he has really bad crater acne.
Yeah, and he's a singer. He's a jazz singer.
He's a crooner.
Yeah,
big time.
He's a crooner. I got one more news flash before we move on. I got one more news because we're all over the place. This is cool. I want you to try this after you listen to the show today. See if you can do this. A British man said it took him hours of attempts before he was able to break an unusual Guinness World Record by stacking in a row. He stacked up 5 M&Ms without them falling. He stacked up 5 of them.
And you can't cheat and do 5 at once. You have to do one at a time.
And people that are going,
oh, what's the big deal about that?
Try it, buddy. Try it. And I'll tell you, what's even worse, try it with the ones with the peanuts in it. It's darn near impossible. Yeah. Will Cutbill, 23 of Soho, England. Everybody's from England today on our newsflash. Said he had long dreamed of getting his name into the Guinness World Book of Records, but it wasn't until COVID-19 lockdown that he decided to make his dream a reality by stacking M&M's candies. Cutbill said he filmed his attempts for 2 or 3 hours before he managed to get his stack of 5 M&Ms on top of each other. The record of 4 M&Ms had been jointly held by Silvio Saba of Italy. Somebody's done it before with 4. And Brendan Kelby of Australia before the record-keeping organization verified Cutbill's video and issued him a certificate. Good for him. We would talk all the time. What records could we break? And I was thinking, I just don't think I'm that dedicated to break one that's interesting enough to be recorded. Because it takes you have to take time off of work. You have to be endurance, whatever. I mean, come on, which one? Even the movie marathon things, I couldn't do that because I can't take that much time.
My luck, I would say there's no way to do this. I would pull out some M&Ms, just start doing it, hit 5, and go, why did I not record? And then never be able to do it again. That'd be me.
Or then I'm ready to record it, bump the table. Then you just
dog comes in. What's this? Tail.
And then, oh, crap, you just have to eat them. So, too bad. At least there's a reward at the end. Meek on there. We'll have more coming up after the bottom of the hour. Oh, we're coming up to the bottom of the hour here. There's only like a little bit of the show left, like another 20 or 30 minutes or so. How time does fly. Later, when we come back, we're going to hear from Chance Bartels. He's going to open up the album of Nostalgic Past, and we're going to get a freeze-frame snapshot of something going on in history in the last week, this weekend, and the following week that's coming up. It's BK on there. Stay tuned for that. We're going to have a lot of fun in here with the time that we have left.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't. Almond Joy's got real milk chocolate, coconut and munchy nuts too. Mounds got deep dark chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Peter Paul, Almond Joy's got nuts, Peter Paul, Mounds don't. Because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Tuesday, one look and Fonzie's hooked. I am informed. But his dream girl has a little surprise on the season premiere of Happy Days. Then Shirley's getting married. But who's the mystery groom? It's the season premiere of Laverne and Shirley.
On Tuesday night. Freeze frame!
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here, dispensing nostalgic geekiness talk radio every Saturday from 10 a.m. till noon Eastern. We're going to hand it over now to let's take a little freeze frame nostalgic snapshot and rewind to the past and go over to Chance Bartels and see what he's pulling out of the bag.
Thank you, Barry, and I like that
Chance.
Intro music. Well, yesterday, June 25th, marked the 12-year anniversary of the death of Farrah Fawcett. She was born February 2nd, 1947 in Corpus Christi, Texas, and she was married to Lee Majors from 1973 to 1982.
By the way, she was our power couple when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They were our royal couple.
Absolutely.
They really were.
Farrah's first credited role was in Mayberry RFD as showgirl number 1 in an episode titled Millie the Model. Weeks later, she was a semi-regular in season 5 of I Dream of Jeannie, starting in 1969 as Roger's girlfriend Tina in the episode See You in Cuba. And she was renamed Cindy later on in I Dream of Jeannie, and she came back in My Sister, the Homewrecker. She guest starred in The Flying Nun, The Partridge Family, and Farrah guest starred in 4 episodes of The $6 Million Man with her husband Lee Majors.
That's right.
She portrayed Major Kelly Wood in seasons 1 and 4 of $6 Million Man, and she played other roles in the Bionic series in seasons 2 and 3. Now, Farrah was also a regular on Harry O with David Jansen between 75 and 76 as the reoccurring role Sue Ingham.
Which was actually a great kind of a cop show. Harry O was a good show. I remember that.
It was.
The Fugitive, David Jansen.
Absolutely. Then came the pilot of Charlie's Angels, airing March 21st, 1976 on ABC TV. And then came the great poster from 1976, which eventually sold over 12 million copies, making it the best-selling poster of all time.
And I heard the photographer did not even want her to wear that bathing suit.
That's right.
She chose. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I've read that. And ironically, the poster's first year, it sold 6 million copies, like the title of her husband's mega hit TV show on ABC at that time.
I contributed to that. I had that poster. I had it. It's on my wall, yeah.
I did not. I wish I did. Now, besides having the title of best-selling poster, a lot of people consider that the last pinup poster ever shot, and I disagree with that because Pamela Anderson had posters, Heather Thomas had a poster in a pink bikini.
I remember Heather
Thomas's,
Thomas's, yeah.
But that was great. So
why would those have been considered
Linda
pinups?
Carter did one too, yeah. That's
That's what I read.
That's
on
weird.
Yeah,
that is weird.
That was considered a pinup, and
Wow.
this author says it was the last one, which I disagree with. The last pinup. Anyway, that poster probably helped ABC to decide to pick up Charlie's Angels and the series, which started weekly on September 22nd, 1976. But after one season, Farrah left the show, though she would make special guest appearances through 1980. Lee Majors was blamed as the catalyst for Farrah's departure from Charlie's Angels by gossip columnists at the time like Rona Barrett, and years later by Mary Murphy of TV Guide, who said he wanted her to be home to cook his dinner.
Oh, no.
Which since then Lee Majors has refuted in interviews.
Right. Who knows what really happened?
Now, Farrah also acted in big screen movies like Logan's Run in 1976, Sunburn in 1979 for Paramount with Charles Grodin and Art Carney, and Saturn III opposite Kirk Douglas in 1980, in which she was topless in that movie.
Oh, if we'd only had VCRs to pause Saturn III back when we were kids.
You can't find it.
It's real quick. It's a fast scene when she does it, but it's there.
It's there.
You're right.
And then Cannonball Run in 1981 with Burt Reynolds, which recently had its 40th anniversary last week.
Saturn III, horrible
Roger
sci-fi
Moore.
movie. Horrible.
Yeah. Now, on TV, Farrah acted in the 2-hour pilot for her soon-to-be ex-husband Lee Majors in The Fall Guy, airing November 4th, 1981, and then came The Burning Bed on October 8th, 1984 on NBC, in which Farrah received critical acclaim and an excellent performance as the battered wife who was pushed too far by her abusive husband. True story based on the 1980 nonfiction book by Faith McNulty about battered housewife Francine Hughes.
And when people say Farrah Fawcett can't act, I'm like, watch The Burning Bed and watch Extremities, and you'll take those words back. You'll eat those words that you just said, because she was a great actress in those two things.
That's right. And then later she acted in Good Sports, which debuted January 10th, 1991, with her lover at the time, Ryan O'Neal, but it only lasted 15 episodes. And then she also was on Spin City as Judge Simmons in the early 2000s. And then on the big screen, she acted in, as you mentioned, Extremities in 1986, and later in Man of the House in 1995 with Chevy Chase.
I don't remember that at all. I don't remember.
I saw it in the theater. It was good.
Okay.
It was good, and it had Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement in it as the kid.
Good.
Despite all of his acting work in film and TV, the Academy of Arts and Sciences denied her a mention in the in memoriam section of the Oscar Awards on ABC
Why
TV.
did they forget her? I wonder if it was on purpose, or it was just they were just dumb and forgot her. I don't know.
I don't know, but it was
people.
a slight, and this slight was noticed by millions of outraged fans, including me. And the very same day that Farrah died, so did Michael Jackson. So her passing was pushed right out of the headlines of Michael Jackson took the spotlight.
They both died on the same day.
The King of Pop.
Yeah, I remember that.
The King of Pop, Michael Jackson, died also on the same day 12 years ago, on January 25th, 2009.
So what's your favorite Michael Jackson album?
It'd have to be Off the Wall or Thriller. It's a tie. Have to flip a coin.
Thriller was great, but Off the Wall I think was just a little bit better album. I don't know the one that came before that. Quincy Jones still produced both of them, I think, for him. Yeah.
Well, Michael was born August 29th, 1958 in Gary, Indiana. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was Lindsay Wagner had a birthday this past week on June 22nd. Right. And I was at her birthday in 2006. And this is really funny. It was at a convention called Bionicon, and they auctioned off the right to have lunch with her. And guess what? Some woman paid $5,000 to have lunch with Lindsay Wagner.
They do that. Shatner does that, and they give it the money to charity. Is what they donate to charity.
What Lindsay did, though, this is kind of funny. She actually let the woman spend the night in her hotel room. And how I know that is the next day.
Really?
The next day, this person that won the auction was in the shuttle to the airport, and she goes, "Oh my God, I left my phone in Lindsay's hotel room. Not good, not good." I don't know what that means. But there was something on that phone that was not meant for public consumption. And I had dinner with Aaron Gray, who you love, Barry.
Yeah,
at that dinner. But
Buck Rogers, yeah.
And then the other thing is here's the old nostalgic expression of the week, den, which I think is called a man cave today.
A den,
but you don't hear that expression.
It's a place where
anymore.
Bears hang out.
And then real quick. Internet BS story of the week. There was a meme going around this week saying that today, 40 years ago, Luke and Laura got married on General Hospital. Nope. That didn't happen until November 16th and 17th, 1981 on ABC on General Hospital. In fact, that event achieved the highest ratings in the history of daytime television at that time, and it beat the Lady Di and Prince Charles' real wedding that same year on Thursday, July 29th, 1981.
Well, it should have, because nobody cares about the royal weddings. I don't.
And then wrapping up, the snack of the week. Chance's snack of the week is Tostitos Hint of Lime. Look for it in your grocery store. It's delicious. It's a throwback.
So it's not an old snack. You can get it right now.
It's currently on the shelves. It reminds me of what is old, the Doritos sour cream and onion chip that I love. That's been discontinued.
Well, they have a new one too. Tostitos has one that's habanero. I've noticed. I wonder how hot that is.
Yeah, and then nostalgic news of the week: Michael Keaton has reportedly signed on to do 3 films as Bruce Wayne, starting in Batman Beyond. He signed a 3-picture deal with Warner Brothers.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool.
Let's
I think
see.
he's going to train the next generation of Batman.
Or he's going to do a little training himself, probably, too, unless he wants to get hurt like Harrison Ford.
All that matters is you got to have a good script to start.
Yep, and get the good camera angles and the good stuntman.
Then de-age.
Then de-age a little bit.
And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Barry King, for your quiz or whatever else you have for us.
Big guy. We'll
or whatever else. Whatever else you want to throw out
whatever
there.
crap you have coming up, that's fine. Go ahead, yeah. Well, thanks, Chance. That's awesome.
Lack of preparer.
That's good. I'm looking forward to that. He's going to cover stuff the week before and the week after. That's going to be great. I think Farrah Fawcett and Lee Majors, like I said, they were our role couples when I was a kid. I'm like, oh yeah, because for years when you said her name when we grew up, it was Farrah Fawcett Majors. That was her name. I would call her that for years, even though she wasn't married to him anymore. I know it was bad to do that, but it's just stuck in my head. But I think they were the first couple as kids that we learned about divorce about too. That was their first divorce. That were like, they're what? They're not together anymore? What are you talking about? No.
Total power couple, like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
And then Billy Bob Thornton, or whoever the heck she was married to.
That was also Angelina Jolie.
That was Angelina Jolie. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow, she apparently likes to go through men.
Patting like crap through a goose. No. For talking about Farrah Fawcett, we all had our women that we were crazy about. For me, it's Farrah Fawcett. Okay. Alan loved Barbara Eden. He loved Barbara Eden. I loved Linda Carter, too, by the way, growing up. Chance, you told me before that yours was kind of Farrah Fawcett, too, growing up, right?
Totally. And Heather Thomas.
When I got the Charlie's Angels cards as a kid, because, we bought bubblegum cards back in the day, and I got the Charlie's Angels. Yeah, I got the Charlie's Angels one. I did not put them in number order. The ones that went on the top were all the Farrah cards. It was in order of Angels standing, on the thing.
Well, you talk about Angels. Cheryl Teagues was always somebody that I was like, there's something there.
Good call, Alan.
Yeah.
There's something there. I'm not sure what it was because I was 13, but I was feeling it pretty soon.
We didn't understand why we liked these ladies. We just did.
There's something about it.
You guys are like me. Like I bought football cards and baseball cards, but I also bought the Topps cards that dealt with movies and TV shows.
Yeah, exactly.
The Star Wars card, the King Kong
Topps
cards.
was great. Topps made all of them. They made all kinds of cards.
I even got Three's Company cards.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
And people just don't realize, and I know you said it, but Farrah Fawcett was known for Charlie's Angels, but you're right. She was only in the first season. She was in the first season, and then a few appearances later on, because you said it was in her contract. Yeah. She had to appear in later episodes, but she was never a cast regular after that.
After season one, no.
Yeah, but she was only in season one. But still, people think the Charlie's Angels, Jacqueline Smith, Farrah Fawcett, and Kate Jackson. That's just the ones they remember as Charlie's Angels. They really do. I know that Cheryl Ladd replaced her,
and Shelley Hack,
and then Tanya Roberts, who's no longer with us. So yeah, Farrah Fawcett. Well, good deal. Yeah, I can still look at photos from Farrah from the 70s, and it's really still there in my mind. I'm like, she was just gorgeous.
I wanted to give her a lot of credit because I felt like she was slighted by the Oscars.
She kind of was, yeah. They didn't take her seriously, but she had two or
Welcome
three
to the
great
Biography
roles.
Channel.
She did 2 or 3 really great roles where she had showed off her acting chops. I directed Mrs. BK in Extremities. We did it on stage once, and it was a great. She did a great job. So it's BK there. We'll have more, and I'll play a classic Farrah spot when we come back. And you got to tell me who the other voice in the commercial is.
When Christopher walked into class, there was no place to sit his ass. Instead of objection, he raised an objection. Yeah, Christopher shouted some interjection.
Damn, this sucks. Screw this. Yo, this ain't fair. How come I don't get a chair?
Interjection.
Damn.
It's a big word.
Screw.
You can't stop. There's too many kids in the classroom, and there's not enough books to go around. It's a bitch when you gotta go to public school. When Desiree opened her book, she had to take a second look. Richard Nixon is press. Yeah, that's what it says. So Des started shouting some interjection.
This blows. How could I learn history when the book only goes to 73? Eat me.
Interjection is a big word.
Whoa.
You can't spell
Eat me.
because there's too many kids in the classroom and there's not enough books to go around. It's a bitch when you gotta go to a public school. So if you're pissed,
Damn.
and steamed,
Crap.
really mad,
Screw this.
and getting reamed,
Eat me.
an interjection is the thing to shout.
This blows.
Interjection
Damn, ain't it a bit?
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Hey, it's BK on the air. We're back. Coming back from a break, and wow, somebody's calling on the line. Let's see who it is. Hey, it's BK on the air. Who's this?
Hey, what's up? It's Eric.
Hey, it's Eric. What's going on, man? Is your phone working? It sounds good.
No.
It's not working. It's not working. Okay, well, I can hear you, so it must be working. What's going on?
My phone is evil.
Your phone is evil.
Oh, you're calling through your computer.
Yeah, are you calling through your computer? Oh, okay, well, that's why it sounds so crappy then, yeah.
Get closer to the mic.
Closer to the microphone, yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you get struck by lightning.
Well, see there, now, you said it on the air. You told me when you were talking to me not to mention what happened at your place in Rome that you got struck by lightning. You go, now don't say this on the air, and then you call up and say it on the air. So what the heck?
But it's been 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so it's a time thing, right? That's what it is.
By now, everybody knows.
You would think this has been fixed, but apparently not.
Did you gain any superpowers at all since lightning struck your apartment? Yeah, what's going on? Did you? Huh?
You would think so, yes, but no.
Okay.
Nothing.
Wow. Well, what's going on? What are you calling?
So, who's the top of the show? You know who you mentioned that you weren't supposed to?
You say Ben Affleck.
No. You said the other one.
I said the other one. Fred Ward?
Michael Keaton? No, I think it's somebody spilled something.
It was Clint Spilsbury, the guy who played Lone Ranger. Yeah, that's right.
You know you're evil for that, right?
Well, that's true. But you heard the story. It kind of made me think of when the Golden Age of TV, when Pat was talking about his thing today about who was he talking about? Dale Evans, Roy Rogers. That's Dale Evans' wife. Yeah. It kind of made me think about the Lone Ranger. Sorry.
Yes, I understand that, but you know you're wrong.
You're wrong about what?
You know you shouldn't have done that.
Oh well, I guess I shouldn't have. But hey, it made you call, so what the heck? That's good.
You will pay for that. You know that, right?
Okay, I'll pay for it. You're right. You'll call again. That's my payment.
Let me cash your check.
You'll call next week. That'll be my payment. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Did you see the later movie with Armie Hammer and Johnny Depp as the Lone Ranger? Did you see that?
I don't know about that movie.
Yeah, that one was terrible. They can't make a good Lone Ranger movie. It's hard for them to make a good one.
I think we said this every time it comes up. It belongs on like a Netflix series done
That'd be a
well.
Great idea.
Where you could have some side plots, but then one maybe overarching arc for the season.
Right.
I think that would be awesome.
Be great on a Disney Plus show or
no.
Come on, they could do it. Yeah, come on.
No, because the CW tried that.
Oh, they did. Was it bad? I don't even remember that.
Back when it was WB, yes, it was bad. It was just. I'll send it to you because I've got it on YouTube.
Eric, I consider you a big comic book fan. You love the Marvel movies. Did you see the latest trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings? Did you see the latest trailer?
Oh yeah.
Did you see the villain that showed up in the trailer that was in a past Marvel film?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you noticed it, but I did. Do you remember Tim Roth turning into the Abomination in The Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton?
Wait a minute. What? That's what it was.
Yeah, in the newer trailer. Watch it again, but pay close attention to it. That's the Abomination from The Incredible Hulk that was that Ed Norton fought in that Tim Roth played in The Incredible Hulk. So they're going way back.
I'll never admit to this, but I feel dumb now.
Okay, well, good. I think it looks the trailer's got me intrigued. We're delving into another world of Marvel. We're going into martial art magic type thing, and it looks like was that Fing Fang Fam Foom dragon that I saw in the trailer too?
Fin Fang Foom,
the big dragon, yeah.
And I think the real Mandarin.
That would be great.
As long as they don't bring Iron Fist into it, I'm good.
Well, we'll have to see. Some people are making cameos in Spider-Man. I heard a rumor that Charlie Cox's Daredevil is going to be in the Spider-Man movie with the thing going on. So that'll be great to see that.
Hasn't he been confirmed for the Hawkeye movie?
I don't know. Has he been confirmed? I
thought I read that.
Well,
that Charlie Cox is going to be in the Hawkeye movie.
Well, it's a Hawkeye
Daredevil
series on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, it's a
series, yeah. But they're like movies. You're right. Okay, Eric. Well, I'll try to keep from talking about Clinton Spilsbury. I'm sorry, but sometimes he comes up in conversation.
No, you're not sorry, but you will be.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Have a good weekend, Eric.
All right. Bye. Eric has also threatened to call your show on the Nostalgic Podblast, so consider yourself forewarned. Because he said, when I call the Nostalgic Podblast and talk to him, I'm going to treat him just like a BK. I'm like, why don't you change it up and be nice to
He's going to razz me. It's okay. That's his shtick.
If he wants to be Don Rickles on this show, he could be like somebody else on your show, and it would be a lot better. That would make me feel a whole lot better. So 770-386-1450 is our number. If you want to call just like Eric did, you can call here. It's BK on the air. I have which one? I'm not going to get it. I don't have time. I don't have time to
for
get
the quiz?
all of these commercials and stuff. No, I don't think I have time for the quiz either. I'm running out of time because I teased this and I want to talk about this too. That's the thing about this show. I run out of time to do everything, and I really hate that. It's like I'm losing something. From sci-fi.com, holy props, Batman. Hollywood's Warner Brothers studio tour reopens with a DC movie museum. It was a long COVID-19 closure for the famed Warner Brothers studio tour in Burbank, California, but it opened to the public once again this week, having spent that downtime completely renovating the back lot tour. With a brand new welcome center, the only Warner Brothers studio retail store in operation, and new TV series and film-centric museum experiences, it's a completely refurbished look back behind the scenes of the still operating studio and its almost 100-year-old facility, Warner Brothers. That's right. Along with other select outlets, Sci-Fi Wire was invited to take an early look inside the tour. It includes the individual cart tours now there are more stops, including post-production experiences, a Friends-themed cafe, and a massive soundstage featuring a new Harry Potter Wizarding World area. That's right, I forgot. Harry Potter falls under Warner Brothers. And how's that work? Because, again, Harry Potter, Warner Brothers, but it's in a Universal park, so they must have to pay them. I'm sure they do, like they do the Marvel characters. There's also an immersive look at many of the studio's props, costumes, and vehicles from its DC Comics library of superhero films like Tim Burton's Batman from 1989 all the way up to Wonder Woman 1984 from 2020. All tours now begin in a welcome stage that features a miniature model of the entire 110-acre lot on the floor for you to look at. It was a perfect bird's eye view of all sound stages, creative buildings, and exterior sets used for the last 95 years. There's also a smaller reproduction of the famous Warner Brothers water tower there as well. You know, I could see that when I drove by Warner Brothers when I went out to Hollywood in 2017. We drove by Warner Brothers and I could see the water tank. Paramount has one too, a water tank. There's also a smaller reproduction of the famous. Inside the room is a breakdown of the various creative departments within the studios, including animation, television production, new line films, and even heirlooms from the Warner Brothers family archives. A short golf cart drive onto the lot brings you to the new post-production experience, which lets guests have a step-by-step, hands-on look at how a TV or film series is put together after filming. Universal does that too. There are ADR tutorials and basic editing lessons, all of which culminate in the early expanded Central Perk Cafe from Friends. There's also a reproduction of the main Friends sets and stores, like we said earlier. One short drive through the soundstage, we'll see the Action and Magic Hall, which is truly a feast for Harry Potter and DC superhero films, with photo ops, interactive digital displays, and tons of Easter eggs throughout. The guests can get lost in a hands-on presentation of the iconic costumes and vehicles from most of the live-action DC films released throughout the last 3 decades, which I hope they'd have some Superman the movie stuff.
There is. A Christopher Reeve costume will be on display.
Fantastic. At the end of the tour, director Patty Jenkins came out to talk to the gathered journalists on the opening about the inclusion of her Wonder Woman films in the new tour, and the public can make reservations for the Warner Brothers studio tour for weekends from June the 26th through July the 11th, with the tour also open on July the 5th. From July the 15th on, the studio tour will operate 5 days a week with no appointments for Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's awesome. Warner Brothers is stepping up the game.
They owe you free tickets for this nice plug. And airfare.
I can keep on dreaming about that, because if we wait for stuff like that, well, we do get snacks in here in the morning, right? We do get
every now and then
stuff,
somebody drops off anonymously
nice.
some treats, some not healthy for you stuff, which is always fun.
Well, that's usually what treats mean, right? This tastes like a treat. Well, it's not healthy for me, so that's why I got it. So yeah, I don't have enough time to play all this, but check this out. I'm going to play this commercial from the 70s. Listen to this.
Lucy, let me borrow your shampoo.
What a roommate. Can't you ever buy your own stuff?
Well, Lucy, I'm not exactly dressed to go to the store right now.
How convenient.
Head and Shoulders. I know it really works against your dandruff, but what about my gorgeous hair?
Your gorgeous hair will love it.
You and I could have done that commercial, Alan. You know,
Hi,
two of us
I'm
together.
Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett and Penny Marshall from Laverne and Shirley
Hate
on
me
there.
because I'm beautiful.
Don't you? You know what? The one thing, and I don't, Alan. I don't hate you because you're beautiful. I don't. Why
She's
should
got
I?
that little baby voice in that commercial.
I love it when we're here on WBHF because we get people outside the studio looking at us while we're on the air, and it looks like the Comanches.
Yes.
Is that you guys a baseball team? You already play or going to play later?
Looks like someone played. Someone slid in.
Uniform. They played. Aw, come on, that's great. But you gave it your best, right? Awesome, that's great, guys. Way to go. Baseball. That's the one with the bat, right? Just making sure. I don't know a lot about sports. Sorry, I bowl. I throw a bowling ball. So, yeah. Did I disable it? Wait, why didn't it work? Sports. Okay, there it is. It didn't hear me. I didn't say it up loud enough.
You're the one who brought it up.
I know, but still,
your
the
show
alarm,
like it crapped on itself. It didn't know what to do.
The alarm's going to go off. That's bad that they lost. They could have told me they won, and I wouldn't have known. So
before we run out of time, I just wanted to give a shout out and remembrance to Mike Brooks, a broadcaster in Atlanta, Fistful of Radio. He passed away, and I've been devastated about it. God bless you, Mike Brooks. It was great to work with you.
Fistfulofradio.com, and he was a good patriot and a good ex-law enforcement, right?
Yeah, Homeland Security. He was a fireman.
Great career.
He made a difference.
It really surprised me when I heard about that. So rest in peace, Mike Brooks, indeed. Well, hey, we're ticking up to the top of the hour here. Someone's calling. I don't have enough time to take the call because we're about to go off the air for the show. The show is coming to an end to some people's applause, I'm sure.
Sorry.
Hey, he's finally over. That guy. That station's good till that guy comes on at 10 o'clock on Saturday. He's a nut. He's on after the most awesome Alan Sanders. Why did they put them back to back?
Just hang up my poster and dream.
You're doing Farrah Fawcett. I thought you were doing Michael Jackson for a second. I couldn't really tell.
Well, you know, they both died on the same day.
Right. Speaking on that, thanks for being here, guys. As usual, we'll see everybody next week. WBHF, it's BK on the air.
May tomorrow be a perfect day. May you find love and laughter along the way. May God keep you in his tender care till he brings us together again. Good night, everybody.